Hello, I have an idea. I hope this works. I just got my grandson a fishing pole, his first fishing pole for Christmas. And we went out fishing and we wasted so much time because I discovered neither one of us knew how to tie a fishing knot. I'm still using, like I'm tying my shoe without the second bow, and that's not the right way to tie a fishing knot. So I had an idea. I want to make him something where he can practice tying knots at home and get really good at it. And when we go out, we can tie a knot and we're ready to go very quickly. And here's my idea. I went to Home Depot and I bought this eyelet. It's about 6 inches long with threads on the end. And I bought a bunch of this polyester cord, which is a lot easier to learn to tie knots than a little tiny monofilament fishing string. So what I wanted to do is make something so this could be stable in his hands. So what I'm going to do is take this large piece of mahogany and cut out a pattern I traced on here, drill a hole at the end, and my idea is he can sit on this and it can pop up in front of him and he can practice tying his knots here. And along with giving him this, I'm going to download some patterns that I find online so he can practice some of the simple knots and get good at it. If you'd like to know more about this, join me on this journey. So we start off here with the bandsaw. I'm cutting through almost 2 inches of African mahogany. This stuff is pretty dense, but it's no match for this bandsaw. I'm coming around, and this pattern was just something I made up, but it seems like it's going to be a good hold down for him when he begins tying the fishing strings off. So after I get through here, I realize that the pattern's pretty nice, but it's a bit thick to sit on. So I'm going to try something for his comfort. I'm going to take and kind of freehand a diagonal down like that and cut it again on the bandsaw to take a little bit of this extra off. The nice thing about doing something like this, you can freehand and then you can come back with your power sanders and take away all the little bumps that shouldn't be there. So now I have the shape that I think will be comfortable to sit on. I take it to my drum sander and I run it quickly down the edge, and this removes some of the ripples made by a bandsaw cut. After that, I take my little router and go around with a 1/4 inch edge, and then I take a palm sander and go at it pretty hard, taking away all the rough spots and kind of cleaning it up. Check this out. These little Ziploc bags that are snack size, just go like that, put it away in between coats. You don't have to wash your brush out or do any of that stuff. So now this is my third coat. The first coat was just a sealer coat. My second one got a little drippy, so I'm going around and cleaning up those drips, sanding them off, and putting this coat on. Turn it around, go like that. You can see I'm moving rather quickly because it's a third coat. I can get away if I miss something a little bit because it's already been hit once. So, if you look closely here, I'm heating up my homemade branding iron with my initials on it, and I'm going to put it down on this mahogany. Certain woods burn better than others. This one took really dark. A little sanding brings out my initials in there. And you can see in the background here, this is something I made out of olive wood, and the brand looks a lot nicer. If I turn it around, you can see the initials pop out really nicely there. Now a little bit of this Johnson's paste wax. I always like to finish off with this because it's great for waterproofing things and just kind of giving it a more even luster. I love this little Incas precision T rule. I'm not making any money on this. I just love it and I'm using it a lot. So what I'll do, and the reason I love it, I want to find the midpoint of this. I can put this on here and without doing a whole lot of math, this is in 30 seconds. I see that the width of this is 2 and 8/32. So I could very quickly go here to 1 and 4, and there's my middle right there. That looks pretty good. Give it a hit and another hit. Now I'll set the depth. I know my threads are that deep. That's how deep. And I'll go a little extra into the wood. Okay, so if I go down to the blue tape, I'll have plenty of depth for that. Okay, here we go. Now to drive my eyelet in, I'm going to take a long screwdriver and turn. And if it gets hard, you can just pull the screwdriver out further and you get a lot more force. Look how fast I can go. Sometimes I amaze myself. I realized I needed to make a simulated hook that is not attached to the wood. So here I take a long bolt, a 6-inch bolt, and I'm using a pipe and I'm just moving it around in a vise and grabbing it with the head of the bolt and bending it and trying to get an eyelet at one side and kind of a fake hook on the other side. The head of the bolt I'll remove later with a hacksaw, but it gives me something really strong to hold to. A little tap tap with the hammer and squish it in the vise a little bit, tweak it around, and you end up with something that looks like a fish hook. I didn't want to put a hook on here for danger purposes, but you can see that's good enough to do the job. Now, because I want this to be an all-in-one kit, I felt I needed to drill another hole for this little freestanding hook I made, and so I'll put another 1/4-inch hole right behind the other one, and that's just a place to put this and store things. Well, hello, and thank you for staying with me till the end of this video. I think some of you might find this very usable. This is what I finally came up with, and near the end of my adventure in building, I had to add a little extra. So this is my device. You can see I have an eyelet here, and out of a bolt I made a second eyelet, and this is supposed to represent a hook. And this is for all the types of line knots you have to make where you loop over the hook, because it obviously won't work on this one. Along with the kit, I have a short piece of string and a longer one, and these are wrapped together so it's a length about that much. And inside this folder that I'm supplying to my grandson are a list of common fishing knots and their names. And then after that, there are all these knots that can be practiced on this device. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun just to practice, even if you aren't going to use them on your fishing line. If you would like any of these, I'm supplying them down below in the description of this video. There are examples of these on a Word document, and I'll also put in that group the pattern that I used for this if you're interested. So to use this, what you would do is just set it like that between your legs. You can hold it with your knees if you want to. I think I was going to turn this a little bit more like that to use. And what you can do with this then, I'll tell you how bad I was the first time we went fishing. I tied this knot. And I told him, in fact, I tied this knot when I was a little boy myself, and I actually caught a fish and lost it because the hook fell off. So that is the only knot I know how to make. So I think we're going to be a lot better off with some practice in using this to practice our knots. Thank you for watching, and Merry Christmas if this is still Christmas for you.